Time to talk a little business. Time to welcome in Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show. What's happening, man?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning. Happy Lent.
Yes, absolutely. That's getting started yesterday with the most attended day in church in the Catholic Church.
And it's not even a holy day of obligation.
Not even a holy day of obligation. You went yesterday?
Of course, 8 o'clock.
You got your ashes?
I did. We were debating on whether or not to let Quentin have ashes, but we decided against because we knew it was just going to come and just be a forehead of just ashes.
Yeah. And I went from mass and then like the ashes were still on when I went to work out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get in there and start doing the cardio and you go to wipe your forehead and you're like, oh, no. And it's like all over the back of your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
Not even a holy day of obligation, and yet everybody's there.
So packed. Like just ridiculous for 8 a.m. mass on a Wednesday.
You should see noon.
I've been to noon. It's an hour-and-a-half mass.
Actually, Father Cleo got us in and out in an hour yesterday.
Okay.
Tightened up the homily. Even had a new joke. Tightened up the
new joke?
Yeah, new joke.
I missed it. We didn't even have a homily. 8 a.m. It was 45 minutes. We were in and out, man.
Boom, boom. I mean, you got to get to work, right?
Right. Well, that's what they said.
Exactly. That's.
But he only told us that after we all sat down. Dean Grant goes, no, stand back up. No homily today, folks. Great, we get Catholic cardio in. I love it.
Yeah.
Great way to wake up.
Yeah. Little air squats. So, story from WRAL News. I think they're out of Raleigh because the headline says, we've noticed some really great outcomes. Raleigh business owner advocates for 4-day work weeks. Let's talk about 4-day work weeks. Is this actually going to be a thing? Is this going to be I would love to slim down to a 5-day work week myself, but is a 4-day work week really possible to implement everywhere?
No, I don't think so.
Most places?
I don't even think most places. I think there's going to be a select few industries that can pull this off very well.
Okay.
And there's going to be a big chunk of industries that just can't feasibly make it happen. For example, you're going to be looking at a lot of small businesses that in no way, shape, or form can drop a work day.
Okay. If you're in retail, you're obviously 6 to 7 days a week.
So I think you can get to, within the retail space, is changing shifts. So your employees only work 4 days.
That's where we're going. Okay.
I think that's what you can see in a retail, maybe even in a restaurant industry, maybe even in a customer service industry where you need 24-hour support and demand. You could possibly look at a 4-day work week per employee, not on a company-wide.
Now, let's flip this around and talk about it from that employee's standpoint. The employee who would want a 4-day work week would be who?
I mean, I think you can take a poll in this office and you'd probably have an answer of somebody that they would all say yes to a degree.
Here's where
if they're paid the same.
Here's where I'm going with this. And we're going to walk down some of the other benefits in a minute. But one of the things that's going to get overlooked very early on is if you're squeezing down a 4-day work week, you're lengthening your work day in order to counterbalance that, right? You're not just losing hours. You're going to, instead of 5 8-hour days, you have 4 10-hour days, correct?
So that's not quite what was done within the study in the UK and in Raleigh.
Okay.
They actually cut it down to 32 hours a week.
And still paid people full time?
Well, some companies paid them 80% and others paid them full time. So there was a little differentiating factor there. Mm-hmm. But yes, when we typically think of in the States, what does a 4-day work week consist of? 4 10-hour days. But in the UK, they really cut it back to 32 hours.
They work anyway.
They take the whole month of September off or whatever.
It's just they're weird.
But yeah, we typically see it as 4 10-hour days.
Right.
My parents' plumbing company, they do that. They have 4 10s.
Yeah.
And they're off Fridays.
Which you can do. Any business you can do by appointment, you can do a 4-day work week.
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. Being in the industrial plumbing industry, they're still on call, air quotes.
Sure.
If something breaks at the plant, they got to go out and tend to it. Same would be a doctor if they're on call.
Right, but with that in mind, until you've filled up all 4 days with appointments just stacked up to where all 4 days are just completely blow and go, you don't have to roll over to a 5th day, and then you can work on managing that out for your employees. Right. But I mean, if you are a doctor, you could probably work this out. Plumbers can do it. Roofers can do it. Electricians can do it. Lawn care services can do it. A lot of personal service industries can get this done with no problem.
Yeah.
The flip side of this is, and working and going back to the employees, working through the idea of not sacrificing hours, trading off for a 10-hour day, I would imagine this would get very problematic for parents, especially single parents. Because that fifth day, while it would be great to have your day free, those other 4 days, it's going to throw off your schedule for working with your kids, getting homework done, getting to and from practices and whatnot. If you're lengthening out that day, you're going to jack with that schedule a good bit, and it's going to throw you off as a parent.
And I think that's where companies giving maybe an option could help with those people in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Where, yes, if you've got your kids have soccer or volleyball, insert whatever sport you've got here, and they have to be running around town from 3:30 or 4:30 or 5 all the way through the evening to get to those practices, yeah, making a 4-day work week is almost going to be impossible.
Right. I mean, if you were used to getting off work at 5, and now you either go in an hour early and get off at 6, or go in at the same time and get off at 7, that screws everything up.
100%. And what I think you can look at is the possibility of, can you perform your work maybe hybrid? So can you work an hour more at your house while the kid's still sleeping, while they're getting dressed, eating breakfast? Can you work another hour and then go to the office and leave at the same time?
Sure.
Can you have like a bridge almost where you're working an hour at the house and then your 9 hours or whatever at the office?
That's going to depend 100% on the type of business as well.
100%. You can't change out a faucet from your home if you're a plumber.
CX, going back to the Raleigh story, CX Pilots founder Stephen Keith made the change to a 4-day work week in June of 2022. He said he was nervous about making the change, but he's glad he did. Quote, does a 4-day work week work? Yeah, they do work. We have been doing this for quite a while since we've noticed some really great outcomes. Keith said his employees enjoy the benefits, which include less work-related stress, lower rates of burnout, and higher job satisfaction. He said new employees are typically surprised to see one less day on the work schedule. I believe a 4-day work week is something we really should do. One of the workers that worked for him said. Now, this goes to your story about the United Kingdom. According to the Wall Street Journal, dozens of employers in the United Kingdom participated in a 4-day work week study. Most companies liked it so much that they made the switch for good. The benefits here are there's a lot to be said for being away from work. Work time is work time, downtime is downtime. From the moment you leave work, you haven't really left mentally.
No.
From the moment you get home, a lot of times, a lot of us are still at work. We bring our work home with us.
Yeah, whether it's through texting your coworkers, texting your boss, texting a client, emailing.
Mapping out tomorrow in your head, whatever the case might be. Mentally, not just physically detaching, but mentally detaching is remarkably important and will more than likely make you more productive upon return. That's what rest is for. Rest is for rejuvenation. That's where we're going to pick it up when we come back. We're talking with Patrick Grimion. We do so every Thursday. We talk a little business. Today, that topic is the 4-day work week. What are your thoughts? Let us know over and over on Talk 1073's Facebook Live. Quick break for traffic and your money now. It is 6:46.
Okay, it's hot in here. I don't know if I'm just like something's going on with me, but it's hot in here.
Got a heat flash happening?
Yeah, we got like heat flash. I'm not like, I don't know. Is it like your late 40s? I'm not in my 40s, but I'm getting like freaking heat flash.
50s.
I'm not in my 50s.
I don't think you're quite there yet.
Like, I'm sweating over here. I don't want hay or needles. What if I don't want either of them?
I don't really care for needles. Anyway, Friday,
Hate needles.
9:20 a.m.
Yes.
The movie premieres on Sunday. We won't air the interview until Monday. Haley Duff.
Shut up,
Yeah.
Like Hillary Duff's.
Yeah.
shut up.
Haley Duff of Napoleon Dynamite's Seventh Heaven and Material Girl, starring in the new TV movie Seasoned with Love.
The Duff sisters.
Yeah, me too.
Dynamite.
So then do
She
you
was
watch
her.
How I Met Your Father?
I haven't seen How I Met Your Father, but
Hillary Duff in that?
Hillary's in it.
She's like one of the main people.
I mean, what's the deal with that?
I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
How can you be a
She
Duff
was so
fan?
on Napoleon Dynamite.
Are you
Your
surprised?
mom was
That's another film I have not seen in its
You've never
entirety.
seen
I've seen
Napoleon
bits and pieces of it. I just have not sat down from start to finish.
Most disappointing movie that you haven't seen yet.
I find it offensive.
You find it
I find that offensive.
What the hell?
Oh,
Chips, Kip. Napoleon, you're just jealous.
boy,
You've
she
been
barely
challenging
has a
on
part in this
days.
movie. She's not even.
Is this
Beatley's Wall of Fame?
is this who you're interviewing, Haley Duff?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
Sometimes it's finding those smaller role characters. They're willing to talk to you, you know?
Well, that's why I'm. I
Me
don't
and
think this
Tripper
is the
Duff
right
use a
movie.
paper scissor.
Damn it! I figured Seasoned with Love. I was hoping it was filmed here. It just sounds like that would, but it was filmed in Canada. They don't season anything in Canada.
You need to get out of the studio because you haven't seen Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like that is like what? Break the wrist, walk away. Break the wrist, walk away.
I think
The guy from the Drew Carey show. I can't remember his name.
I think the list of films I have seen is far shorter than the list of films I have not seen.
I don't know if she's in this movie.
You can't go look at our IMDb?
It's not on her IMDb.
You think anybody thinks I'm a failure? Cause I go home to Starla every night, and Starla's like freaking jacked. Like, dude, I love that movie. It used to be my favorite.
What's your favorite now?
I don't know. Inglorious Bastards.
What are your top 3 films?
Inglorious Bastards.
The TV.
That's a hard
the
question.
TV's off by.
Yeah, I'm aware. It's been an issue.
Do not turn off.
Somebody put it on channel 1, and I can't get it to go back to channel 3, so it'll connect back with the Cox box.
The Cox box.
Yes. What?
I'm gonna refrain from making a joke right there.
COX. As in Cox Communications.
Yeah.
There's
They
a lot.
should have named their company that.
There's a lot of talking with the Adam and Eve commercial.
The Cox box. That would have been better than Dick in a Box.
Nah.
This,
What?
this is messed up. She's not even in this movie.
So why is she doing an interview for it?
Well, either that or IMDb is completely like missed it. It's not listed on her.
IMDb like blacklisted Haley Duff.
No, it's got everything she's done except this, and for upcoming movies, no.
Super weird.
Super weird.
What's the film?
Seasoned with Love? I don't know. I signed up for the interview. Yes, Seasoned with Love.
Apparently, Uncle Rico is on White Lotus. I haven't gotten around to watching White Lotus either.
Well, Uncle Rico's on this show every day now. Just wish I could go back. I could throw this football over that mountain.
She's not in that movie.
Welcome to the party.
Seasoned with Love?
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
I know.
Maybe she produced it.
She still would get production.
It says starred in.
That's so weird.
She still would get credit on her IMDb.
652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, 71 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We talk with Patrick Grimion, host of the Patty G Show every week. We talk a little business today. That topic of business is the 4-day work week or the potential of moving over from, and we'll get back into the morale aspects of a 4-day work week in a minute. But you had sent over a story that at first I kind of just scoffed at, and then when I started thinking about it, there's bigger ramifications here, and this is the genesis of why I wanted to dive fully in on this topic. From the BBC, the climate benefits of a 4-day work week. Let's go all green, Patrick. Let's go all environmental. There's growing interest in the benefits of a 4-day work week for productivity and employee well-being, but the picture is more complicated when it comes to climate change. In 2011, Simon Ursell and the 3 other co-founders of newly born environmental consultancy Tyler Grange, based in, we'll just say Gloucestershire, UK, decided to give all their workers a day off a month to volunteer. Which, hey, we have that here. We can take off the volunteer here. They had found that many of their new employees already spent free time volunteering in wildlife trusts. Quote, our ecologists have always loved being ecologists, Ursell says, but last year, Tyler Grange took what some would see as a far more radical step towards workers' well-being by trying out giving all employees a fifth of their work week off. The company joined the world's biggest ever 4-day work week trial, which took place in the UK from June to December of 2022. Pilot aimed to assess whether companies could maintain productivity with a reduced working time and, importantly, with no loss in pay for employees. So the story goes on from there and talks about some of the ecological effects. You're reducing the need on carpool or on transportation. You're reducing the amount of electricity in the building, which I don't think you would be if you have if you have a full slate of employees that have a different rolling day off. You still have to light and cool the building every single day, whether there's 10 people in there or 50. It's still got to meet room temperature. But you are reducing the number of people who are driving to and from work every day, which it might be minuscule, but could have some effect. Now, I'm less worried about the ecological effect of that. I'm less worried about the carbon footprint of that than I am the actual footprint of that, which would be reducing traffic in Baton Rouge, particularly on the interstate.
So from the business standpoint, they can make that claim, right? Yes, we're not having people come to the office. Therefore, we're doing our part to reduce traffic. Mm-hmm. We're doing our part to reduce people on the road and driving from a business standpoint. Yes. Therefore, we're being greener, right? Mm-hmm. But what do you do on your days off? You run your errands, mm-hmm. and you typically are driving further to run your errands than you are to your office.
Right.
At least I know for sure I am. And if you are off, and let's say you want to take your kid to go do something outside, you want to go to the zoo.
Wait, whoa, pause on that. Mm-hmm. Okay, how far you drive for your errands is based wholly off of where you live.
Right.
If you're in Prairieville or Denham and you commute downtown, or you commute to Essen to work at Our Lady of the Lake, that is a much longer drive than going to Sam's Club off of I-12. Like your errands are going to be more locally based within your bubble.
I guess, but you also don't. So you're changing the time, right? Because you may not be driving the same time you were be going to work. Either you're sleeping in or you're staying at home. But like the thing with saying that you were going to cut down and we're going to change the carbon footprint by not having people commute to work, or just having work remote, you solve the same thing.
Right.
Or
you're not reducing the carbon footprint. You're just shifting the blame of it to a personal errand.
Nailed it. Because at that point, if you're saying we're reducing it, are you now demanding your employees stay home? Are you restricting them from traveling and going elsewhere? Say, you got to do your part on your day off.
Right.
Stay home.
Right.
Don't drive.
Right. You're under house arrest now.
You can have Friday off, but guess what? You can't go anywhere.
We've reduced to a 4-day work week, but we've got this ankle monitor.
You got to stand within a half-mile radius or walk. Walk, Brian.
Yeah.
You want to go to the grocery store and shop for your family? Walk.
Back to the story from the BBC. Juliet Shore, an economist and sociologist at Boston College and lead researcher at 4-Day Week Global, who worked on both the UK and the US pilot programs, argues a shorter working week is key to achieving the carbon emissions reductions the world needs. Absolutely failing to see the lot, because like you said, all you're doing is you're
So-
taking the employer out of the equation and making it more personal carbon emissions,
Right.
not
Now-
carpool-based carbon emissions.
Now we're going to make you feel bad for driving, Brian. The
Right.
company's not going to feel bad, but you will.
This is the quote, although climate benefits are the most challenging things to measure, we have a lot of research showing that over time, as countries reduce hours of work, their carbon emissions fall. She says a 10% reduction in hours is associated to an 8.6% fall in carbon footprint. Now, okay, let me ask this one. If I'm running to Sam's Club and back, or I'm running to Costco and back, or I'm knocking out a trip to the doctor, or whatever my errand may be, I'm not sitting in traffic for 45 minutes on I-12. Does that make a difference? I'm still firing up the car, for sure. But
I don't have knowledge to
Yeah,
give you
I
the
know.
greenhouse gas emission of an idling car versus a driving car.
Well, and I'm thinking,
That's not my level of expertise, Brian.
what I'm wondering here is, would we have to do a study in our own backyard to get an accurate description of this? Like, would a study have to be done in a major U.S. like?
So now we're gonna have people put like O2 sensors on their tailpipe to see how much they are
I
emitting.
think you could just track the time.
I don't know how they would have to track that, but yeah, you've got people that now the companies can absolutely say we're doing our part to reduce greenhouse emissions. But
Right.
the article goes on to say this exact same thing that we're running into and discussing, where if people are going to go on hikes, all right, how many places can you go on hikes in Baton Rouge within your bubble, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to go, oh no, we're going to be outdoors and doing more things. A trip to the zoo is probably a lot longer than some commutes from their house to their office.
Absolutely.
Or if you're going to go to somewhere to go hiking, and let's say Tunica Hills, much further drive than going to and from the office. But you're outdoors, Brian.
What's on the show this week?
This week we have Tom Cox of golfballs.com.
Golfballs.com.
Golfballs.com. He makes the claim and is backed by some people that they're the oldest e-commerce store in Louisiana within the golfing industry.
Interesting. You get the Petty G Show anywhere you get your podcast. You get in the Saturdays on Demand lineup right here. He's Patrick Grimion. Always appreciate the time, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Here comes ABC News.
It's older than Alejandra and I, but I didn't want to say that on the air.
Really?
Yeah, they started in like 94, 95.
All right, Christy says, I look at a 4-day work week from a mental health aspect. That's 1 day a week that I can recharge by myself and don't have to cater to the needs and wants of everyone around me, especially in a high-stress environment. She's
From a mental-
100% right. And here's another part about this. So we talked about how if you're a single parent, it would cause a strain on all the things surrounding your kids at school. The flip side of that, though, is all of your time that's dedicated to your kid outside of your job, or your kids outside of your job, you have 1 day where there's a gap in there's a gap in that Venn diagram.
Right.
That's like kids in school with work, weekend, and then that space here is just me, which would be unbelievably valuable. So
From a mental standpoint, absolutely, the 4-day work week is a huge thing to be considered from companies. But I just don't know if I'll be able to get behind the mission statement of we're reducing greenhouse gas emissions by having a 4-day work.
well, there's a bigger story there, and that story is, why is everybody trying to jam carbon emissions into everything?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's just not going to be part of the story.
but it's got to be, Brian.
It's
It's
like-
got to be, Brian. I don't. It's 4-day work week. Let's talk about the benefits of the economics.
There can
let's
be-
talk about the mental health capacity of it.
The mental health part of this is the biggest part to me.
But oh, absolutely. But don't tell me that people are going to reduce their footprint because they're not commuting to work every single day. That may be the case for maybe the first week or two. People are like, I'm going to stay home and relax and catch up on sleep and get relaxed.
Mhm.
But after that, we've seen with COVID, we like to be out and about. We don't like to be cooped up in a house.
I'm with you.
So then we're going to start having everybody that's off of work, hey guys, let's go do a group activity.
But running your car for an hour versus running your car for 20 minutes, 20 minutes is going to be better for the environment.
I have no idea.
Okay, not a climatologist.
Yeah,
I have no degree in science,
right.
but running your car for an hour is going to spit more stuff out of your exhaust pipe than running it for 20 minutes. no matter how you break that down.
It could, but also running your car for a shorter time period does more harm to the engine because it doesn't have time to get up to temperature.
What? No. Your car gets up to temperature in like 3 minutes, tops. Unless it's like freezing outside. Yeah, my car's up to temperature before I get to the first red light that I hit in the morning. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just diesels.
Could be.
As I say,
You have a diesel?
Yeah.
Jeeps are diesels?
Mine is.
Oh, what is it?
I say, because mine doesn't get up to temperature but before I get to work.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, my temperature, I'm like just starting to creep up on my temperature gauge by the time I get to work.
Mhm.
And so running that motor at a low temperature and not at temperature does more harm than good.
Well, that's to your car, though.
Right.
Obviously, any story about the environment would want to get rid of diesels.
Yeah. I'm doing a double whammy.
Yeah.
You know, when I had a Volkswagen Jetta and it was a diesel, and I almost preferred it than like a gas vehicle. It lasted longer.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in the long run it was cheaper because I didn't have to fill up as
Well, cheaper.
often.
But what about the environmental